it's clear that the resolution is written in such a way that some people are, I think, willfully misinterpreting it. If it's true, as the American general just said, that there is now effectively a no-fly zone in Libya and that Gaddafi's forces have stopped attacking civilians, it follows that there's therefore no need for any further bombardment. And yet further bombardment there is. And moreover, overnight, one of the missiles landed on the house of the Libyan leader Gaddafi, the brute dictator Gaddafi that we were doing such a roaring trade with, £220 million worth of arms in the last year alone we sold to Libya. Now we're trying to kill him, and that's almost certainly illegal, and I think that the Security Council will have serious words to say about that this evening.
The support of the Arab League is important, isn't it, George Galloway, because that's basically the region saying we want this action.
No, and as we discussed just the other day on Sky News, the Arab League is itself a collection of dictatorships, many of whom are actually themselves firing on democracy demonstrators in their own countries, so they're not very credible. And Nabila's right, notwithstanding the re-clarification, or is it re-clarification of the Secretary-General today, in fact, there's not a single Arab aeroplane in the sky attacking
Yet,
Libya.
but we know that Qatari airplanes are going to take part.
Well, I'll believe that, frankly, when I see it. It doesn't take very long to get your aircraft from Qatar to Libya, and they've taken an inordinately long time. And I think that's because opinion in the Arab world has begun to turn quite decisively against this. Hundreds of cruise missiles being hurled at an Arab country is never going to be popular, no matter how brutal and awful the leader of that Arab country is. That's why even when Saddam was being bombed 8 years ago exactly today, even though people hated him, they didn't hate Iraq, and they didn't hate the Iraqis that were underneath the bombs.
Nabila Ramdani, what do you do then? Do you sit back and let Colonel Gaddafi carry on killing his people? We know that opposition leaders in Benghazi today have welcomed the airstrikes and say that it allows them to continue with their aim of pushing on into Tripoli.
It's clear that...
Well, I think that's a crucial point, because the impression that the world increasingly, but more in particular the Arab world, is getting is that the very foundation, the very legitimacy of the UN resolution was indeed disingenuous, that the primary aim was not to protect the civilians, as was claimed, but indeed to end Gaddafi, either by killing him or by introducing a regime change.
But if the objective is to protect civilians, and by all necessary means, then perhaps killing Gaddafi might be part of that objective, fulfilling that objective.
Well, it hasn't been stated clearly, and that's where, you know, the hypocrisy, if I may say so, comes in. And also, there's, you know, an increasingly a sentiment in the Arab world that why is Libya such a priority when we have reports coming out of Bahrain, of Yemen, very graphic reports of people being killed, being rushed in hospitals en masse, and being slaughtered by Saudi Arabia. Why is Libya such a priority? Well, I think I've answered that. You know, it's oil and natural gas. There are millions of pounds of it in Libya. And, of course, companies like BP and Shell were starting to exploit it very nicely under Gaddafi, and his new pariah status makes it impossible.
George Galloway, I know that's your view as well, that
yes.
The reason that we're going in Libya and not in other countries is because of the oil. David Cameron, though, would say that what's going on there gives the people of Libya a chance to choose the government that they want.
Well, I'm in favour, as you know, of that. I supported this revolution before David Cameron did. Indeed, I'm supporting all the Arab revolutions, which David Cameron isn't. So it's not that I want Gaddafi to stay in power, it's the opposite of that. I just say that the former colonial powers, Italy, for example, the last time Italy attacked Libya, they were wearing the uniforms of Mussolini, and so degraded was their conduct that they only last year agreed to pay €5 billion in compensation to Libya for the war crimes that they committed there. And the French in Algeria, don't get me started.
OK, well, I can't actually, because we're out of time. George Galloway and Nabila Ramdani, thank you.